Hello, y'all. Welcome back to our Hyphen with your girl Sade.
And I'm Sherelle.
And we're coming to y'all today with our main topic is going to be about self-love. However, y'all, we will hop, skip, and jump to something else real quick. But you got anything to say, girl, before we get started?
The reason we chose self-love is because, of course, it's February, and although we should be practicing love every day of the year, February is like the month that we acknowledge like love in its fullness. And so a lot of our conversations this week have just been about, y'all know, like we always say, our journey and self-love and relationships. And so of course we wanted to sit down and talk to y'all about it, or allow y'all to be in the middle of our conversation. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
So welcome to our living room. But what has self-love taught you?
First, I think it's important to talk about like I didn't realize for a long, like I always thought I had self-love, but I would say I really understood like self-love these last 3 years.
I agree.
And I think I said this on the last episode, but I really realized that I don't think people can say that you truly, truly love somebody or love another person until you love yourself. And the reason I say that is because when you love you, you have certain standards about how you're treated, how you allow yourself to treat other people, what you accept, what you don't accept. And so now that I've had that experience with me, it then helps me hold other people accountable. And so love just looks different for me in that capacity. So yeah, the last 3 years has just been like a journey of love in its totality in regards to like my emotions, my health, all of that. And it's a beautiful thing. Like self-love is something I want for everybody, for real.
It's a peaceful state, for real. Like I would say that self-love has taught me to appreciate my singleness, because I at one point in time I never thought that I could be single. You know, and now it teaches me how to just have these girl cry. That last might fall off.
That is real.
It did. Like my journey has taught me that it's okay to say no. It's okay. I don't care who it is, whether it's my parents, it's my child, whether honestly to myself. Because when having those uncomfortable conversations, I have to sometimes ask myself, do you really want to make this phone call? Do you really want to do this?
And even if you do, like that self-love also allows yourself to have grace.
Yes.
Like one thing I remember I was in like Wegmans one day, and I was thinking about like a situation. I was like, if that was a person that I was supposed to get it right with, it would have happened. Like we're not gonna miss anything, anybody, any situation, opportunity that's for us. We're not gonna miss that. So if we like the situation that you're talking about, like it stops you from doing certain things. But even if we make that mistake, so to say, or we have that experience, or spin a block like people say, that means it's still something in terms of like our love for self or our understanding of situations that's left to learn. So I think we do a very good job of that and holding each other accountable in that, like allowing ourselves to just like have those teachable moments or experience those teachable moments without beating ourselves up.
Yeah, and that's one thing as far as for me with the uncomfortable conversations, those teachable moments are just like put yourself in somebody else's shoes and willing to be teachable. And I think that's another thing about self-love is that it's taught me to be teachable.
Yes, for sure.
You know, I'm a work in progress every day, you know, and I'm learning that this me time is really what's important too as far as self-love. Like you have to say no. You have to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to read, I'm going to write. Because like I told you, reading and writing, that was not my thing. And it really, really saved my life. You know, just to sit down and have those uncomfortable conversations, write them down. And just to know, like, what am I trying to say? Having this self-love also has brought me spiritually intact with me.
Yep.
I will say it has brought me spiritually intact with me, with my creator. You know, I just realizing that, like you said, with grace.
Me too. And you know one thing I realized, I'm going to show y'all something. So I got this tattoo. It says, be still. God, I got this tattoo. I remember one day I was probably a year or two post grad, like undergrad. It says we still need to be touched up. And I remember I got this. Dang, it's crazy. And I got a tattoo on my back. It says let it go. And I just gotten these messages because it's been like something that popped up like, yo, this means something. Let me get it on me. But now it's like I really understand what this means. Like you were talking about spirituality. I've always known God.
Right.
But like now I know God as it pertains to the God that's within me. Like
you know,
who He created me to be, right? And that came with being still. That came with, I mean, we had our season like downtown, Friday. We couldn't wait to get off like work to go home and get dressed and be out and about.
Mama, you got that?
Right. We still had those moments where it's like, let's go have a good time, but it looks different.
Right.
And then like that season was necessary, but now we've also got to a season where it's like, I'm gonna stay home today and I'm really gonna read and journal and like just sit with my thoughts. And that to me is like the message behind this is different now. And I got an anchor beside be still. And it's like it took me being single, learning how to really enjoy my time alone. And like really y'all, sometimes I have to talk myself into being social because I just love my solitude. Like even sometimes we'll get together, we'll just be sitting having conversations like this or just sitting like doing nothing, and it's like a form of solitude. And I feel like that anchor represents like when I got by myself, like just me and God, that's when I really felt anchored in who I am and who He created me to be.
Yeah, it took my journey. Like now that you said about a tattoo, I'm actually looking at my foot, and you know I got the by His grace on my foot, and you know I really understand what that means, because if it wasn't for my journey, I wouldn't know God for myself.
Yep.
And like this morning, to be able to sit and have a conversation with my 91-year-old grandmother, and I felt like I was the teacher, and she really listened to me. I don't know if she received it, but for me, this morning I was studying the Bible on self-love, and there is not a scripture.
Oh yeah, we talked about that
right in the Bible about self-love. It's a default position, but the Bible all states. I was studying Luke this morning, but the Bible states that you. Throughout the Bible, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So basically it's self-love is a default thing. And like, how was you explaining it?
When it talked about like when God created us, all of us, He created us in His image. So when you think about God, we know Him to be like loving, caring, kind, like all of these affirmative like things, like positive things. And so going back to your point about it being like default, if He created us in His image and if He lives within us, then that means that we are like gods in terms of like how we interact with people on this earth. We're supposed to be representation of what He is, and that's love. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like it breaks my heart, like going back to self-love now. I can spot somebody that doesn't have love for self, or somebody that like is not confident in who you are from a mile away, just because like you can only put out what's inside. So if you come into contact with somebody that's just nasty, spewing out negativity, I'm like, dang, like you don't even know what this like that peace and self-love really feels like. And I really have a heart for people like that. Yeah. Because I used to be like just negative and pessimistic. So I can see it now, and I just want everybody to get to this place. And
I know it sounds
peace
crazy,
and joy.
But that's how I feel. Like I just want everybody to take this piece that I have. It's overflowing. I promise you, I will never run out. I don't care what it is. Look how you was looking at me the other day when I was optimistic about having a migraine. But I got everything done that I needed to get done. And it was like God was telling me it's time to rest.
The week before, I don't get migraines. That week before,
energy.
And then you had one.
Look how we merged together.
Yep. And just, I don't know. It's a freeing experience. And I always try to preface these conversations with saying, like, just because I have peace and I have joy and I have self-love does not mean everything is perfect. That means that despite anything that may be going on, like, this is my baseline. Like, I can always go back to, like the peace and joy and self-love that I have. And I just want that for everybody else. And so, like, I guess some things that I do to maintain this is just, like I said, spending time with myself. I'm really pouring into myself. Yeah, I listen to music and I just let myself drift off into whatever land that exists. And just, like, really like allowing the story to take me places and to really like get into that feeling and say like, yo, like this is a good song. Like I can only imagine what that person was feeling, and this is how I identify. And I got a song for everything. If y'all haven't noticed, I got a song for everything. So music is something that I really love, and so it's something that I use to love on me. I got a whole night routine that I do just to come off of to get home and like come out of my day. Take a shower in the dark every once in a while and see how that feels to you, and just, I don't know, allow yourself to be. I go to sleep with certain things playing in the background, affirmations playing at night, just so that I'm always getting fed like that positive energy. What's other stuff that we do?
Now, as far as for me, you know me, I turn my music on and I'm walking through the house doing leg lifts, doing squats. I fold clothes doing leg lifts. I mean, you can do anything for that self-love, for you to pour into you. That goes back to what we say, it's okay to not be okay. And like you said,
that's a form of self-love too.
My journey, I'm going to tell you something. In my day, if I was to start my day off in a negative manner, I don't know how I would get through it. I am up in the morning sometimes at 5:30 and I don't go back to bed till like 11:30. But I promise you, I make the best of it. In the morning, I make sure that I send out my encouragement to my group of people. And I had to actually, one of my sisters, she was upset about the weather. And I told her, I said, look, think about it. We all complain. Or people, I don't anymore. Because you know me, I don't care what comes. Rain, sleet, sunshine, snow, whatever. I appreciate everything because everything happened for a reason. And I told her, I said, think about the weather as your life. You know when it rains, the rain, the precipitation is preparing the soil for growth. So think about it, when we have our trials and tribulations, it's preparing us for growth. And I'm hoping that, you know, she didn't think that I was being smart or being offensive or anything, but I told her, I was like, come on now. You've been through it. You know what it is. So you can't go into any situation looking at, God has blessed you. You know what I'm saying? You've made it through this health scare. You're still able to work. Some people can't even work. So appreciate. And I feel that's a part of self-love, when you can wake up in the morning, whether it's raining, snowing, sun shining, because God gonna give you these dreary days to make you appreciate that sunshine. And I feel that's a part of self-love. When you wake up in the morning, open them curtains, get you a plant, sit it at the window, and watch that plant gravitate to that sun. Think about it.
That's so true.
That plant gravitates to the sun, so open that blind in the morning, whether it's the sun shining or it's raining, it's still light.
And you made a good point too. So something else that I do, my thing is, you can't expect anybody to give you anything that you aren't willing to give yourself. So when I tell you I romanticize everything in my life, if y'all ever see me in the grocery store, I'm like walking through the grocery store jamming. On Mondays, I go by the grocery store before work, or maybe I'll do it during the weekend, and I like literally go into the grocery store and pick out flowers that like I would love for somebody to get for me one day. But it don't bother me that they don't, because I do it for myself. And like I literally enjoy that process, and it's something I look forward to. It's so easy to get caught in like the mindset of, oh, I'm by myself, I wish I had. Do it for you. Why not do that for you? So then when somebody else comes and they do that, it's like an addition to what you already do for yourself. So whether they do it or don't do it, you're not missing out on nothing. You're not lacking anything. And to me, that was the biggest form or like understanding of self-love. Like you have to pour into you. You can't, and I've been that before. I thought like my self-love was dependent on how somebody else treated me or what they did for me. And I don't want to say missed out on opportunities to, call a spade a spade. I missed out on so many opportunities to pour into myself, waiting for somebody else to do it for me. And so now it comes natural. Yes.
Now for you go for the flowers. Now I'm at least going, you know me, I can talk the lines off a piece of paper. And at least a couple of times a week, I go to the store by my job. And I go and see the senior citizens I'm not going to say everyone, but every time I go in there and I speak to them. And we talk and they laugh. And it's like, that's my self-love too, just seeing them smile, because it just brightened their day. I was like, do you really know that no one really talks to us? And I've had several people tell me that.
People say that.
Right.
Or like how people, and you attract what you are. So like being out and people just talk to you. Or it's almost like when you, because if I come into contact with you, like I'm gonna speak, and it's almost like when you speak to people, like, oh, like a nice person, and you'll be surprised, like the stories that people share about their own lives, or just the things that they feel comfortable telling you, it will really elevate you in terms of them telling you something or confirming something maybe that you've been in your quiet time with God about, or either just realizing like, wow, I have so much to be grateful for.
Yes. Because everybody's going through something. Like, I hear my grandmother say, you put your problems in a basket with somebody else, and you'll be glad to get yours back. And that's the truth. But it makes me, I feel like I'm living my purpose because people feel so comfortable to say things to me
for sure.
that they wouldn't say to anybody else. You know, because one of the senior citizens in the grocery store, he said his wife passed and no one really talks to him because he's sitting in the store and think he's a bum. And he was like, I don't ask anybody for nothing.
I'm going to tell a story, and I know he wouldn't mind me telling this, Mike. So, last weekend when we went for your birthday, and you, like, for real, y'all, we be acting like old ladies sometimes. So, we had our night out that Friday. Lord, we didn't get home till, like, 2 o'clock, 1 or 2 o'clock, I think.
And sleep before we got to the boat.
And so, then we went, we went to Maryland for her birthday, went to MGM, like, all of that. And it was time to go out. And we was like, going to... somebody that we know, they have a bar, and we was going out, and I was like waiting for Ted to be like, y'all, I'm tired, like we ain't going, like I had to get my nap. Y'all know me, I don't play about my nap. Self-love, you know that. Like I don't care what we doing, we can be in the middle of hurricane, whoever, I gotta take a nap, y'all. I ain't gonna be right. So we were all getting up, getting dressed, and we went out. And the man had invited some of his regulars and some people that, you know, he considers friends out. And one of the guys, Mike, we just started talking, because like you said, we'll talk to anybody.
Talk to lines.
He had just buried his mama that night. And so like he said, yo, like I was at home in my bed when I got the call to come out. He was like, I'm so glad I came, like your energy is like everything I needed. Literally like just talking. And that's why I tell people, like, you never know what somebody is going through. Like if somebody is rude to me at a restaurant, or if they give me bad service, I allow my mind to go to, okay, what if this person is here for the sole purpose of, you know, they have a mother who is dying of cancer and they're doing everything they can to make sure they got enough money to pay for her medication or her treatment? What if this lady is working and, you know, her boyfriend just got into a big argument and, I don't know, he threatened to take away the kids? Or I always allow my mind to go through, like I said, I'm in a state of joy and peace, so let me be the person to love on you despite, even regardless of what's going on with you. And so like even that experience last week taught me, like, sometimes God will put you in places just so you can help somebody else go through what they're going through. And like just as much as he feels like I gave him, the conversation, like it was a dope conversation, a friend like for life probably, because he's a dope person. But what if I wouldn't have been obedient? Or what if I would have just said, all right, y'all, I ain't going. Well, I wouldn't do that because it was her birthday. But what if we had collectively decided, like, we weren't going?
That's why we say everything happened for
us.
us.
And that would have been a missed opportunity to pour into somebody else.
And you know Roman won't gonna let us not be able to go, though.
Right.
She younger than us, for real. She just don't know.
It was time. Roman was looking at me. I was looking at Ron. We just need one more person, and that's Tip, to say we ain't going. And I would have pulled that cup over my head. But I'm so
I think she would have been upset if we ain't go.
Me and Rose on the same page. We was troopers for you, but I was Rose was looking at me, and she said, "Oh, I'm tired." I said, "Me too, Rose. We gotta do it for Tip." But no, I'm so glad I went, and that's my favorite compliment. Like somebody telling me I have a beautiful spirit, or that my energy is pure, or it's just something about you, like you so like pretty, beautiful, whatever. That's cool, but those are the things now in my maturity and my self growth. Those are the things that's most important, like how I show up for other people or to other people, and like my presence in the world. And to me, that's like the ultimate form of like self-love to me.
And that self-evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's a blessing. And another thing to piggyback on, I just want to say that our singleness, people need to learn that it's okay to feel lonely. It's okay to be alone, because that's those times where you just evaluate yourself, answer those uncomfortable questions that you need to answer, but you learn about yourself.
Like we literally had somebody tell us, like, I can't understand how y'all are so comfortable being single. And like I tried my best to explain it. It is not from a place of like cockiness or nothing. Like I just love me so much. Like I'm not willing to tolerate anything that's taking me back.
I can't do the stress when that thing hits you in your throat and your stomach, and it's like everything will come out. I'm not doing that.
Yep. And not for nothing, everybody that, I think we agree on this, everybody that we dealt with has taught us, like, it's almost like when you building a house, like, it's so many pieces, or like there's so many things. You gotta have your foundation, you gotta have your electricity to make like the final product. And I really feel like that's what those situations have taught me.
To me, most importantly, it's taught me to relinquish control.
Yep.
I would say, like, I was told, you know, that's you don't let her be a man, be a man. And now I sit in this. I sit in it, and I'm like, you know what? I get it now.
Like today, I was telling you about that today. And what's crazy is when you find your tribe, like me, Tiffy, like, it's like you and y'all had those uncomfortable conversations, those honest conversations. You'll see how relatable, like, we experience so much of the same things.
And we talked, and I will say, for us to experience those things, it helps one another grow because we give what we've learned from it and not from a negative insight. Yep. Like, I don't care what we go through. As soon as one of us about to say something negative, you already know no.
Yep. Or we'll let it come. We'll say, you know, sit in it. And then, like, how can we put a positive twist on this? And going back to, like, when you said, like, he told you didn't let him. I caught myself today because I told you we was out eating, caught breakfast with a friend, and of course he paid for everything, and I was gonna leave the tip, and he was like, "What are you like?" Pretty much like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, you paid." He was like, "No, I got it." And I wanted to push, and I was like, in that moment, like, it's almost like I heard you saying, like, what we had talked about before, and I was like, you got it.
Let them have it.
But it's small stuff like that, like, and having good male friends to call you out on your stuff too. That's very important. That's very important. Like
and it's also taught that you don't have to have a relationship or a sexual relationship with a male in order for things to work. I mean, because you really can learn from those male friends. I have to say, I have more male friends than I have female friends. Yep. But you have to learn how to set those boundaries, and that comes with self-love. Because they know you don't play. When a person know that you don't play about you, just like people say, I don't play about my kids. But when a person know you don't play about you, it's the same way they know, don't play. They know how to come. Look how I got that phone call the other night. I'm saying, I'll call you back. No, you can call me or something. You sure I can call you back? You call me back after a certain time? You don't have access to me. And then I'm going to call you back during my business hours. Because you right at this point in time, you are my business hours case. But most importantly, I will say for me, self-love has taught me to be not only a positive role model for others, but to be a wonderful parent and to learn to have a dialogue and not a debate. And I know everyone is not going to agree with the way that I raise my child. However, everybody got opinions. And it really, to me, what other people think don't matter at this point, because I have a child that's excelling. Being a single parent is not easy. However, it's a challenge, but I feel like I'm doing a wonderful job, and it's the point of teaching him how to process his thoughts.
And you're very open-minded about it. Like, I be talking to you about him, and most people are like, girl, you ain't got no kids, what you talking about? But you be like, Trish, you're right.
Because it takes a village to raise a child. It really, really does. I mean, another thing with self-love, it has taught me that a positive support system is everything. It's priceless. And without that positive support system, I don't know how I'll be doing this thing called life. I wouldn't be here. If it was not for my support system, which my support system taught me about reading and writing my thoughts, because I know my memory is shot.
What if you don't read? If you don't journal?
Yeah. And then when my sisters gave me the journal, the gratitude, the other gratitude journal, then my sister gave me another. I was so excited to get that book that she gave me the other day with my little positive vibe pens and all of that. But for real, y'all, you know, don't get me wrong, I was a government school student, I was everything, but reading and writing was something that I did not want to do. I had to do it, and now I love to do it. I take my books to work, I write. My boss said, what you doing, journaling? Sometimes you need to do it. But journaling, writing, my support system, is what saved me, y'all. For real. I mean, it's...
I agree. 135,000,000%. I agree. Yep, I agree.
And another thing about self-love is that people have to stop living their lives according to other people. And I had to tell my grandmother this morning, 91 years old. And no, people don't like to talk about that. However, it doesn't bother me because I do believe in God. And God said in his word that he will turn your sorrows into a celebration. And I told her, I said, think about it, Granny. Your obituary is about you. So stop living to what other people gonna say or societal standards. Stop. Because your topic, honestly, only comes up in their mouth because they don't want to talk about themselves. It's a full-time job minding your own business.
It really is.
Because let me tell you, just even trying to eat right and maintain this weight, y'all, that's a full-time job. Let alone having a job, having a child.
And one thing I learned, if you talk about somebody else's business long enough, God will give you some of your own for other people to talk about. Listen, so live your life. Yes, ma'am. Live your life.
It is power in the tongue. I learned that every day. I love when Daddy say that name. Power in the tongue. Stop talking about
us. We done rubbed off on them. And that's a beautiful thing too. Like just seeing other people around us, because it's the iron sharpens iron. Like other people around us just making those subtle changes. Like y'all know I don't say good morning, and so like even when I speak to my the owner of the company, and he'll come in and he'll say good morning to the office manager, but he'll be like happy Tuesday. But yeah.
Now what's your reasoning for the good morning versus happy?
When we talk about words having power, the word to me morning signifies like mourning or like a sadness. So I don't want to say like acknowledge or start my day off by saying like welcoming that. And to me that's just what it means. It might not mean nothing in the grand scheme of things, but I don't like saying good morning. I like saying happy Monday, happy Tuesday, whatever. That's what works for me.
Girl, we are changing the world one person. I get it now, that saying changing the person or changing the world one person at a time. Because I'm going to tell you something. It really brought my heart joy when our crowd went to the winery. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was amazing when we went to the winery. And I'm about to cry.
Don't you start. I'm going to start.
Because nobody was sitting there. It was different. It was no boomity boom music and la 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 la, and everyone enjoyed themselves and even wanted to practice. And I know y'all do. So you know that felt good when she said, "I know y'all be doing them up and down."
And do.
We do, and they just felt comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It felt good, but to go back to peace, to the self-love when it relates to peace, I know that it was nothing but God speaking to me when my goddaughter showed up on the door.
Now we about to cry for real.
That Friday. And I'm going to give y'all this. Whatever you pray for, believe me, it's power in the tongue. And God will give it to you. My mom had previously talked a couple of days ago, before my birthday, had spoke on me and her and my best friend whom got killed in a car accident, and I never came to terms with that. I never had peace with it. You know, I even conducted her memorial service, but I never came to peace with it. And my mom said that she had that dream. That was Wednesday. That was Wednesday morning.
That Friday, yep.
My birthday was that Friday, and my mom said she had a dream that my best friend, her and I, were sitting down talking. And in the midst of all that, on my birthday that Friday, when I said, Mom,
I'm in the Uber about to die. You going through the pictures. It was a lot that day.
But y'all, it was the best birthday I could ever have. Y'all know how you open the blind a little bit? Because everybody know. My parents don't open the blinds, boy. No. Mom, get out that blind before you break it. I'm looking. I said, Mom's a white car outside. The doorbell, ding, ding. Mom, I ain't going to the door. Ding, ding. Lord, my mother went to that door. And my goddaughter walked through that door, and she looked just like my best friend with her hair tied up.
She looked just like me.
Oh, my Lord. And I said, God, right then, instantly, it was like God was telling me that Mary is okay. She's at peace. And y'all, I promise, just like that, I had to listen to my spirit. And we hugged, we kissed, and I'm standing there in front of her sister, my mama, just crying. And it's like, God, I thank you. I just appreciate. It's like you see the goodness in anything. Like I told you, I had a migraine. And I saw the goodness in that. God said, sit down. Go sit down.
And what's that thing Rose said? Less is more.
Less is more.
And as we get older, like I know for me, my birthday was kind of like September. Alright, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna dun. And now it's like,
girl, you had a list.
That honestly is like when my birthday gets near. Like this year for my birthday, we ain't planned what we was doing to like. It was almost like, alright, we gonna do something. We gotta plan something. Because like some days I just like my quiet. Like I need to be me and God, like just reflecting. And I find myself now being afraid to plan something and then just having to go through the motions because I done told everybody this is what we're doing when that's not really what I want to do. But like as like I'm getting older and like as I see making it another year and the growth and that reflection, it's kind of like I don't need all of that anymore. It's like just being surrounded by people that I know genuinely love and care about me, that hold me accountable, that's not too caught up in whatever they think I am or I'm going to be, to like really sit me down and say, nah, you was wrong. Like now, like having those people, you feel like, I don't want to name names, I'm going to miss somebody. But like being surrounded by those people on my day is like, is that's all I need.
It's so
it don't
fulfilling.
take all of that other, it don't take it.
It don't.
And so that's another thing I'm learning about self-love. Less is more. Like, because you already got you already happy with just being you. And so like then adding more flowers in your garden,
man. I can really sum it up for real and just say that self-love has taught me to be powerful, peaceful, professional, and proficient. A proficient woman. Mm-hmm. It has like,
and still being relatable. Cause we have fun. Like we really have fun.
We can get along with a dead ant on side the road. We might bring them back to life for real. Not saying that we Jesus, God, or anything, but it's just like
we was in Starbucks that day, minding our business. You remember we was working on the podcast stuff?
Yes.
And it was too, much older. They said that we can come to their farm and do an episode, and we're gonna do that.
Levert, can you go so we can go cluck 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 with the chickens and all that stuff around the yard?
And they came. What are y'all working on? Like we were literally minding our business, and not for nothing. The way it'll work, like you don't see that often where people feel comfortable coming up to other people because, not for nothing, we two younger black women.
And they were of different
They didn't know how we were going to respond to that.
They seen me drawn.
Right. Yup.
And he was an artist, remember, with no hand or no fingers or something. Something had happened.
I think he was missing a thumb.
Something like that. And it was...
Yup. And that's when we were thinking about, I think I just spit all over you.
I ain't feeling you. I got close.
We were talking about using like the yin and yang symbol to represent us.
Right.
And then they were a representation of that because they looked vastly, like they were totally different in appearance and like their backgrounds and stuff. They were best of friends.
Because one had a farm and one he was an artist.
Yep. And we were talking, oh man.
And one believed in the woman being head of the household really, and the other one didn't. And it was just a wonderful conversation.
Yep.
And I will say this. People on the outside looking in will look at us as being flirtatious. They always in a man facing this, that, and the third. But that's not the case. We are talking. We are learning. We are growing. We are pouring into us. Mm-hmm. But hold on, because it's even a quote. What is that, girl? That they gave us.
You still got it. I'm about to go.
Yup. It was a quote. I'm gonna find it, y'all, because I even got that day what it signified.
I'm about to tell.
But no, like I just learned that you cannot live according to society. It said you have to be as confident as you are powerful. That was one of the quotes he gave us. You have to be as confident as you are powerful.
Oh. Yes.
Say it.
No, because that's going on a whole different tangent.
That's okay. You can give me a little snippet for next time.
When I said that everybody that you encounter or you deal with teaches you something, that's something that me and the man that taught me how to be Saul, that's one thing we talked about a lot. Like having positions of power. Dang, and then I think about it, he was preparing me for, oh man. Like we were having those conversations in relation to who he was. And like how, when you are in certain positions of power, like you have to be careful as to how you use your power. Because, some people think by a certain power and making people fearful of you, it creates a safe spot. But when people are fearful of you, they'll do anything to get rid of you. So it's not really power. Right. But then when you utilize your power to build other people up, to make other people feel just as powerful. Like when I took my position, I said I don't consider myself a boss. I consider myself a leader, because leaders create other leaders. And so like when you're dealing with people, you know, you have to speak to the areas in them which makes them feel strongest, or with, you know what I mean, like speaking to what you see in them, to make them strong in their areas. But when you said that, it made me think about that situation, and I didn't realize when we were talking about it as it pertains to his position, it was also preparing me for the position that I ended up getting later that year.
Everything happens for a reason. And then
Life
will teach you. This is another quote of Rose. Life will teach you what people tried to tell you.
Yep.
And we need those lessons. And I will say this, I go back. People walk around upset with people because people don't take their advice. But have you or have anyone taken 100% advice of someone? Mm-hmm. Let me go through my journey. I understand. Even if I ask you for advice, I'm gonna ask you for advice. Mm-hmm. But if I still decide to go my way, that's still my journey.
And having those uncomfortable conversations, sometimes we ask people for advice because we want them to agree what we already know. To be like, if we got to make a hard decision, we hope they say something in the opposite direction that makes it okay when not making that decision. So sometimes we always have the answers. The answers, I don't care what nobody says. When you know you and you can go within, the answers are always there.
They are. We're not like the soap operas. Mm-mm. The soap operas, they got to write those scripts. We don't have to write our scripts. Now, I do write my thoughts down because my memory is not too sharp. It's not.
And why would you say that? Don't affirm that.
I'm not.
You have a lot of stuff to keep up with from day to day.
You right.
Because if you 30 cents and your memory ain't good, we gonna be at 60. No.
I'm not gonna claim it. You right. I do have a lot on my plate, but I enjoy it.
And you write your thoughts down because one day I wrote that in my journal the other day. What if the things that we are writing now? Either I'm gonna give my daughter, when I have a daughter, she's gonna have full access to my journals at a certain age. Like, what if something that we're experiencing now, like, she gonna read it when she need to read it? Because think about how many times that's happened in our lives. Just in the past, and you come into contact with somebody that says that thing that you needed to hear to confirm something.
Well, see, that's what I do. I write this so that I can give it to. Yep. Like, let's say, for example, God forbid I drop dead today or tomorrow. This journal is in my house somewhere, and I don't have nothing to be ashamed about. Like, I don't, and I actually write dates. I write the topic that's on my mind. Yeah, because if I drop, I'm not afraid of death. Like, I understand God's word for myself now, not what someone else was telling me. Just like I told you about the iron sharpens iron. I didn't know that was in the Bible, but I'm not ashamed to say that.
Right.
You know, because I only learned what was taught to me, and they only know what was taught to them. So for me now to be able to, anything that I'm having a question about, I will Google it. What does it say in the Bible about this? And if it ain't in there, then okay. Then I'm like, okay, man, I can speak some.
And the mind is such a powerful thing. And like as you were talking, I remember I went to the orthodontist this morning. I text you because I had forgot to take medicine, and I don't take medicine, y'all. But like it has gotten to the point now, like when I go to the orthodontist and they talk about putting on a tighter bracket, I panic. It's like I knew we had stuff to do today. We had a busy day. I was like, Tip, bring me some pain medicine when you come to the room because I forgot to take it. And when I got in the orthodontist's office, she was like, ooh, he putting on this bracket. Like, that's a big jump from where you were. And we've been so busy today, I haven't thought about it. My mouth don't hurt at all.
See?
But had I sat there and ruminated over that and had the expectation
of it hurting, you would have took the medicine anyway. Yep.
And thinking it's not hurting because I took the medicine when it's really not hurting because I'm not thinking about it.
The mind is a powerful thing to waste.
Man.
That mind is powerful. Don't waste it, y'all. Don't waste it. Don't waste it.
So yes, my challenge, I guess, are we okay. So I would say my challenge to everybody in the month of February, and of course it's something that I would hope that you all start doing, make it a part of your everyday life. But I know sometimes it takes time to get used to things. But like, pour into yourself. Like, find that one thing that makes you feel like just really good about yourself. Whether it be riding in your car, listening to your favorite song and acting like you in concert. Don't worry about them people looking at you. They're going to forget about you 10 minutes later. They may forget about you because they got other stuff going on in their life, or they may remember you and that might inspire them to do the same because it's really what they want to do, but they worried about what people say. But find that thing that you can do to pour into yourself every single day. And then find that thing that you can do to pour into somebody else. Like, sometimes when I go get my morning coffee, I'll cash app one of the workers in Dunkin' Donuts just to say like I really appreciate the role that you play in my day. Like the fact that you show up every morning to your job and you're so nice. Now and it got to the point that they know I don't drink coffee without a straw, so I do my little mobile order. They'll hand me my stuff. Like, oh, you need a straw. Like those little things and how you show up in other people's lives. Like you have to pay people back. Like just being nice or like whatever you choose to do to pour into somebody else. So pour into you first and then find ways to pour into other people. Call somebody. Whatever that is, like, I challenge you all to do that for the month of February.
And I'm not being rude. I'm looking up a quote that, remember I told you the other day, it was something about a quote that, something about being honest and offending others.
Yes, you said you can't be an honest person and be worried about offending others.
Hey, you got it.
That's real.
But piggybacking on what you said, we said earlier about changing the world one person at a time. Like it felt real good for my girl to call me and said that she spoke life or some positivity at work. Remember I told you? Mm-hmm. And it just feels so good. And then it feels good. Now my challenge to you all, which if you follow me on Instagram, is that self-affirmation challenge. I want you to look in the mirror. I don't care if your breath stink. I don't care if your hair is all over your head. I don't care if your tail stink. Look in that mirror and tell yourself, I love me some me. I am beautiful. I am worthy. I want you guys to do that every day.
It worked.
I don't even, y'all, I'm telling you it worked. And for my girl to call me and say, I did my self-affirmation challenge today, that feels good, y'all.
Saying that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Sending a text at 5:27 in the morning. I done looked in the mirror. And you know, some people, and that's another reason why I appreciate my singleness. Mm-hmm. Because if I was in a relationship, that would like, depending on, you know, that would be a problem. But y'all, I'm telling you, this space is amazing. So I challenge you every day. I don't care if you get up in the morning or you get up in the evening time, look in that mirror. If you forget to look in the mirror at home, pull that mirror down. Look in the rearview mirror and say, I'm beautiful. I'm worthy. I can do this. I'm going to get through this day with a smile. And I want y'all to know this. Smile regardless of what you're going through.
Yep.
You're going to go through it anyway.
Grow through what you go through.
God didn't go through, Jesus didn't go through didn't have a perfect life. So it ain't meant for us to have a perfect life. So appreciate these seasons. Because they're all temporary. Time is an illusion. But appreciate these seasons and learn what those seasons or your seasons are teaching you. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, I tell you all the time, people come to me to want to talk about me being divorced twice. Oh, let me stop you real quick.
You chose you twice.
Right. But I have to say that I needed that. Mm-hmm. I needed these divorces. I needed to go through to learn me. And no, did I get offended in the beginning when it was like, you need to let me be a man? Ooh. I did get in a minute for a second, but I had to have that uncomfortable conversation with myself. And self-love has taught me it's okay to think about it. It's okay to sit in it for a minute, but just don't sit in it for a long time. And that's where I am. It's okay to believe me, nothing about my life is perfect, but I love every. I'm looking into the wrong camera, y'all.
I seen something.
Hey, I seen the light. However, let me tell y'all something. If you would have seen me 3 years ago, Mama stretching his ass for that. I was 200, struggling to get from 236.
I was 260 again. Man.
230 now. Let me tell you something. I step on that scale in the morning. 192. This morning though, I was 198 from last night.
Still my 200s, but mine.
But I stay between 190 and 199. But y'all, self-love is everything. I'm so in love with myself that I truly think about everything that I put in my body. I do. Like for real, like I know I eat that daggone snickerdoodle cookie. I know I'm gonna have to do extra leg lift in the house. But y'all, it's a beautiful thing. I want everyone to experience this. And if I can help y'all in any way, you know my Instagram page, hit me up, send me a message. I'm here for y'all. No judgment zone. I've been there. It feels good to be from one spectrum to the other side. So.
We really appreciate you all for tuning in. Thank you so much for continuing to give us feedback. If you have any topics that you want us to cover, if you want to be a guest, let us know. And we will see you on the next episode of our Hyphen.
Take care.